Welcome to Cryptic Corner. Good evening. Welcome one and all. This is the place where we explore the unexplained, the supernatural, the paranormal and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. And we got a classic story that we're going to be looking into. It's first time covering this topic. First, more than just this topic, this content creator, I guess you'd call them, but they precede content creation by decades. We're talking about Coast to Coast AM. I've never, ever covered Coast to Coast on Cryptic Corner. There's a lot of topics that I've talked about that are covered on Coast to Coast. Yeah, but they are not something I specifically dove into. But let's see here. So what I'm talking about today is it's a really weird one today. It's not seeing down clown weird, but did you all check that out last night? I had that premiered last night. It's
See how fast the hole was going.
It was a really peculiar creature. Anyway, this is a phenomena they call Mel's Hole. Mel's Hole is a call from Coast to Coast AM, and this guy, well, I'll let it play. I'll let it play, and y'all can get the gist of it.
The bottomless pit in Washington State.
Mel's the guy with the never-ending hole, and we're going to ask him about it here in a moment. Now to Eastern Washington. I guess this is Eastern Washington. Mel, are you there?
Yes, I am.
First of all, Mel, thank you for answering. What are you doing up at this time of the morning?
Well, after I sent the fax, I'm living in town here now because we had a couple of our buildings out there cave in after the big snows that we had out here last month.
Oh, yes.
And
yes, this is literally a never-ending hole. It gets really weird, though. Don't even get me started. It gets really weird.
And so thereby goes some of the construction debris into the hole.
Yes, we're diving into Mel's Hole, so don't tell Mel. It's going to be a surprise. Like, hey, Mel, we're in your hole. And Mel will be like, what? I'm like, yep, we're diving right into that hole. And Mel's like, oh, my gosh. Apologia Live channel does a great show about Coast to Coast called Toast to Toast, where Paul and his friends drink while listening to the show. So I used to, when I was one of the many jobs I had while I was in school was I was a like a night maintenance person, overnight maintenance person at a nursing home, right? And I used to, what I would do is I had my headphones on and I would just have Coast to Coast AM playing in my ears the whole time while I was working every night for like 3 months. So I got a lot of Art Bell and what is it, Chuck Norrie, who took over after. I got a lot of exposure to that. The Dogman episode that I did last week, I got a lot of my exposure to the lore around that from listening to Art Bell. Anyway, but this one was always one that really fascinated me.
Also,
All right. When did you discover this hole?
well, the hole has always been there. We've been out there for a couple of years now, and the hole has been there since we've been there. It's been there since the previous owner was there, and the previous owner there was quite elderly, and I'd say he was there for a good 30, 40 years before we moved in.
Wow.
And then
and so there's been a thing of throwing stuff down this hole for a long time.
It's been going on, for as long as the hole has been there, I assume.
When nobody knows that, I guess. All right, how do you...
Oh my gosh, Mr. Lizard, how could you forget Mel's Hole? It's such a bizarre thing. Wait till we get into it. It's just the logistics of what is claimed here is, and I'll talk about some of the stuff that's like, hey, wait a minute.
Pronounce the name of your town, Manastash?
Manastash.
Manastash,
right.
That's right. Thank you.
Actually, I'm in, right now I'm in a little town called Ellensburg.
Oh, I know Ellensburg. All right.
You must know about
Hold
it.
on. I'm going to do something here real quick. So we're going to... I can keep... I'll let it play while I do this, but... Not that. This one.
You'll hear it then.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Well, so, we've been there for several years. And, we just take all, we take all of our trash, rubbish, anything we have that we have to get rid of, we take it, throw it in the hole. Everyone's throwing their stuff in the hole. The people from around there throw all the stuff in the hole. I mean, it's just been going on for a long time. Well, I got to thinking one day, how come this hole is not filling up? It must be an awfully deep hole.
That's a good thing to consider, sure, as you throw stuff in it for decades, literally.
And so, I used to be a...
this is Ellensburg.
I would say pretty close to a professional shark fisherman. So I had a couple of huge
this is the ridge
fishing reels, went out there and started letting the line down. I figure after one...
Did you weight the line?
Oh, yeah. There's, in fact, the original line is still down there. I've just been adding to the line and keeping track of how much line I have used. So I've not reeled it in.
How much weight is on it?
There's a 1 pound weight at the bottom of it.
1 pound weight, all
1
right.
pound weight. It's a triangular 1 pound weight.
Okay.
So he's talking about putting spools of shark fishing line down this hole to see how deep it is.
And so that's at the bottom of it at first.
So in other words, it would go down kind of like a plumb bob.
Exactly. In fact, I have it rigged across the center of it there, and it goes...
Kent Hovind called Coast to Coast AM. Oh my gosh, is there a recording of it, Spooky? Discord, if you have a copy of it that I could listen to. Oh my gosh, that'd be so much fun. I'm not going to listen to the whole Mel's Hole saga. We're just going to get a kind of a gist of it here. We're going to listen like the first 10, 15 minutes of this.
Goes straight down from the center there. And occasionally I try to move the line there, but when you're moving that much line, you really can't do a whole lot with it. But it seems to, there seems to be, it's not resting against anything at this point here, and it continues to go down freely. And so when I was out there earlier, I'd let out a little bit more line. And
so you actually went out there tonight after I read this?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man.
Well, it's not too bad out here right now. It's only about 25 degrees, so it's not too cold.
Have you ever heard anything coming from any sounds or anything?
Sandy, you rule. Woo! Yeah, get those subs. Get them. Get them. John's got one. Stephanie's got one. Pragmatic Crystal's in on it. Ryan, hello. I didn't even see you in there. Hey, baby. Love ya. Ryan's going to be on later this afternoon on Skeptic Haven. That's this afternoon. You got a wrench. Drop a link for that, would you? Thanks. Because I'm a Skeptic Haven host myself, so I got to support my team, my sisters, and also Wes and Paul and everybody else. The whole crew. Go check out Skeptic Haven. Subscribe.
Well, the normal thing to do is kind of like yell into it there, to see an echo, and I've never heard an echo come out of that thing.
No echo.
At all. That's one of the first things I noticed about it. As usual, I brought the dogs
Woohoo! Yeah, you lurkers. We know you're there.
with me. They wouldn't go anywhere near the damn thing, and I went back to the Suburban and hung out over there, so it was kind of...
So, just to recap, he was like, okay, there's no echo from the hole, and the animals won't go near it. The dogs won't go near it.
I can't, if I try to bring them there on a leash, they'll just dig their feet in. They do not want to go anywhere near the hole. And so that's, I don't know. It's just...
Well, you've got miles and miles of...
Yeah, I think, Well, I'm measuring it by feet. You know, I convert feet to yards, so I don't know how many miles that is. I assume it's a fair number of miles, though.
Well, 5,280 feet is a mile, so you really think you've got 80,000?
Yes, yeah.
All right, 80,000. We have a number here. This is where Mel's hole kind of falls apart for me, but we're gonna let him continue here. They're saying there's 80,000 feet. Now, that's about 15 miles straight down, right? Yeah, 80,000. Let me see, 80,000 feet. Yeah, 15.15 miles. So just a little bit over 15 miles down. Now, the deepest that we have ever drilled into the earth is 8 miles. The depth of the Marianas Trench is not 80,000 feet. What is the depth of the Marianas Trench? Depth of the Mariana Trench is 10,000 feet. So this is, 10,000 meters, 35,000 feet. So this is, he's talking almost 3 times deeper than the Mariana Trench into a hole into the earth. There's a few things that we need to understand about the crust of the earth and plate tectonics that's going to call this into question. But physics in and of itself, and somebody can confirm this for me, but he's talking about doing spools of shark fishing line, right? Which have a weight limit. Believe it or not, they have a weight limit. It could be several hundred pounds. Obviously, it can be several hundred pounds, right? But the thing about what we're talking about here is that it is several hundred pounds. We're talking actually so much weight on this line that because those spools, if you ever look at like shark fishing line, those spools are huge and heavy. They're like they're several pounds a piece, just massive, big spools, right? And he's talking about putting 80,000 feet of that down this hole. Miles, 15 miles of this fishing line down that hole, of this heavy, bulky fishing line, right? That's where it falls apart for me. Let's go on.
I get the line in 5,000 yard spools, and so I've gone through that many.
Well, you have got a hole then that goes, well, you know, you can't say to the center of the earth, but you've got a hole that goes miles and miles and miles into the earth. I would think a university would be out there, boom, just like that.
Well, my wife does work for a local university here, and, you know, we've been talking to them about it, and one of the things is they find it quite incredible that I've let that much line into the ground, but that's what I've been doing.
Have you ever thought of winding it all back up again?
All right, I just checked. Actually, you know what? Let me just pull it over here. So, debunking Mel's hole. So, just to clarify, 5,000 is line weight 15 pounds. Breaking strength 15 pounds too. So this is not even the strongest, right? This is not even the most robust of fishing line. This is only a breaking strength of 15 pounds, and the line weighs 15 pounds. So a heavier duty line is going to weigh even more than this. And this is a massive spool. Look at that. Look at that. Look how huge that is. That's 7 inches. That's like this tall. Yeah, it's a big old spool. No way.
Well, when I let out the first 1,500 yards of line, I reeled all of that back in.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know if I had hit water down there, because I thought that's a lot of feet.
You bet.
You know, that's 4,500 feet of line. Did I hit water? So I did what what I did is I sent down a roll of lifesavers.
Lifesavers?
Yeah, so when it hits the water, the lifesavers will dissolve.
That's true. Oh, I see. So very smart. So
yeah, it's an old shark fisherman's trick there. We used to send our bait out on a balloon attached to a roll of lifesavers, and the bait would go out into the ocean on the tide.
Yeah.
And then eventually the lifesavers would melt, and the bait would fall to the bottom. You know, you couldn't cast a big old mackerel out there that far. So
that's amazing. So, what do you?
Which Mel are you talking about? Look at the trees. I can't help but think of scientist Mel. I was going to tease her about this video, but I decided against it. Mel's hole.
You got any guesses?
I don't. I have no idea. I thought it could have been a mine shaft, but the thing about it is the surface part of it's been very well cared for. I mean, someone built a very lovely wall around it. And
all right, tell me about the nature of the side of the walls. In other words, you must be able to look down far enough, at least, to examine the side of the walls.
Sure, it's stone for about 15 feet down.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's soil, dirt, and then further down rock. So but I can only see to the extent of really powerful flashlight. I brought halogen lights out there to try to get a better look down there, but the visibility really isn't there. You cannot see much after a while. But it's a retaining wall. I'd say it's about a 3.5 foot retaining wall.
Native Atheist, the deepest lava tube that I could find. They do run long, but the deepest down that it went was what is it? 3,614 feet. So that's not even close to how deep that they're claiming on this. The deepest it's called the Kazumura Cave. Here. Instead of just talking about it, I'll show you. Okay, so we got the Kazumura Cave. Longest and deepest lava tube in the world. It's 40 miles long. They are really long. They are this long compared to, compared to Mel's hole, right? It is as long as that. But the depth, because he's talking about going straight down, depth straight down. I believe when they did their drilling that went 8 miles down. The temperature down there would as far as I'm aware, would melt a fishing line for sure. All right, let's go back over here.
And it goes down about 15 feet, and then it's...
Well, I'll tell you this much. No matter how powerful a light, and I was even thinking about a laser... when you're talking about 80,000 feet, forget it.
No. Well, they should have some technology that can give me an idea of how deep this thing is. I mean, obviously, the old fishing line method is only going to go so far.
What we need here is a volunteer. Real, I'm serious. Somebody who would be willing to be lowered into this hole.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't even know if there's any air down that far. I mean,
I wouldn't know about that either.
Or what kind of pressures we're dealing with. These are things that are totally beyond my grasp in terms of knowledge about these things. But
do you own this property?
It's our property, yeah.
How long have you been working on this?
Well, we've been out there for a couple of years. I said about 4 years now. But
and I've scanned this ridge up and down, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit.
This project here with letting down the line, that's only been since last summer here, and it was just I said, well, how come this thing isn't filling up?
Well, sure.
And I talked to the neighbors around there, which are on when you're out there in the country.
Sorry, I missed your question, AR. The hole is 9 feet wide, or about 3 yards across.
Your neighbors are pretty far away, but they all know the hole out there.
They all know about it. So it's
because they all bring the trash out there.
So the local legend of the hole.
Yeah, this could be an apocryphal story, but one guy claims that he threw his departed canine down into the hole.
Oh, really?
And
there we go.
He swears. Well,
time to get woo-woo. Ready?
the story is the guy that did it swears the dog actually came back to him, and he was a
Really?
hunter. He was a hunter. The story is that he was a hunter, and he was out there hunting, and he saw the same dog. He had the same collar. He had the same little little metal thing on his collar there, and he said it was the same dog. And he says he knew he threw the dog into the hole. But that's not that's not my dog. That's not my.
It's not your story, but it's a story of a resurrected dog.
Yeah. This is as you can well imagine, this is all Native American land around here, and so one of the lines of inquiries I'd like to make is is there anything about this hole in regards to the Native Americans? That's something I haven't really pursued right now. But
if you had a fatal disease, Mel,
yeah,
would you jump in the hole?
I would.
Add 15 degrees Fahrenheit for each mile you go down. Thank you, UC Love. That's good to know. I was curious about the temperature. So we're talking Olympic Peninsula, so we'll give it on a warm day, so 80 degrees maybe. So each mile you go down for 15 miles, 15 degrees. Yeah, that fishing line's toast. It's liquefied.
You would?
It's
based on the dog story?
It is in my will.
What?
Should I meet my demise,
that you would be thrown in the hole?
Disposed of into the well.
I'm not sure the health department would allow that.
Well, one of the things that we, I thought about later on is, what if this is like contaminating our water, And, we've had, I'm sure you do this out there in Pahrump too.
Well,
you have your water checked all the time.
Well, yeah, no personal offense to you, Mel, but if there was a possible contamination problem, I'm sure you're a clean guy.
Yeah.
But, as you deteriorated, you would possibly produce E. coli or something horrible in the local water supply.
Well, again, so far it hasn't.
If you weren't resurrected.
The water around that area is absolutely pure water. It is,
So there's actually in land management, you do have pits that you throw. Like people are supposed to throw their cattle in there if their cattle passes away. Supposed to throw, you can throw any dead animals in there that you want, and vultures and stuff will come and feast on it, and scavengers and whatnot. But it is a normal part of land management to have organisms decaying naturally in the environment, and pitfalls like this are definitely a very common place for organisms to collect. That's where what we have as far as like Pleistocene animals and things like that of North America. A lot of them are found in these like pitfall caves. Missouri is ripe with them, but you find lots of cool remains in there. Anyway.
And so nothing thrown down, all the old junk and trash, and nothing has polluted the water.
No, I mean, I can't speak for everything that's been thrown down there, but none of that has been showing up in the water that people draw from their wells. I mean, the water's as clean as it's ever been out there. I think we get water that comes off the Cascades or something.
Yeah.
It's just really great. It's really wonderful water.
Mel, you wouldn't be pulling my leg.
No, I'm not, and I'm one of the reasons.
So you throw a dog down there and it comes back to life. So you gotta wonder, like, if you threw like a pound of hamburger down there, would a cow come back to life? How does it work? Like, how much of the animal has to be thrown in there before it to come back to life?
Reasons that I went out to the property tonight, other than it just, it's something that weighs heavily on my mind. I was afraid that after I sent the facts out, that there would be people around there, because it's...
Well, there may be, but we have not identified specifically where it is.
Well, there aren't, as far as I could tell, too many big holes like that around, and so at least the people in my neck of the woods are familiar with it, and I kind of almost expected to see a small party of people.
Well, there may be. Now, I mean, come daylight, there may be. But remember, folks, this is private property. This is Mel's hole.
It is posted, too.
Oh, it is. All right. Well, there you are.
This is Mel's hole.
So without knowing exactly where it is, I wouldn't look for that to occur, but there is going to be substantial curiosity about it now, Mel.
Well, I think I've...
Mel's going to, kick you down there and say, this is Mel's hole. Yeah.
let you know as much as I know about it. I certainly want to find out more. I'm mostly curious. I was mostly curious about the depth of it. I mean, how deep is the deepest hole anyone has ever found?
Well, I've never heard of anything deeper than this.
I thought maybe this would be like Guinness World Book of Records type hole here.
Mm-hmm.
As far as things I thought it would be like, it could have been like an old mine.
Well, now here's a couple things to think about. I've heard as you go down into the earth melt that it gets hotter.
Ooh.
Right? So you would think that your fishing line with a weight on it at some point would melt or, something, but there's still weight on it, huh?
Yeah. The line is not moving freely. I mean, it still falls under its own weight.
Oh, that's amazing. Let's let some of the audience ask you questions.
Okay, I think I can do that.
All right, because...
All right. We're going to not go into the audience Q&A, but we are going to look at the area again. So, here's a little video with some analysis. This is from about 5 years ago. I'll read what it says. Mel's Hole Satellite Imagery Analysis. I've spent a countless number of hours searching Google Earth satellite images of the Monastache Ridge in Ellensburg area. Oh, hold on. That went too fast. Oh, I got it sped up. Hold on. Okay, there we go. So the chances of finding the hole via satellite are not good, as the hole was only said to have been about 9 feet wide, covered by a metal sheet. Add in the fact that satellite imagery did not start to become clear when zoomed until 2010. Before then, it was mostly just pixels. Plus, if the military did take control of the property in 1997, like Mel claims, there's a very good chance they have covered the hole with even more than it already was. Many people have searched Google Earth, Terra Server, NASA, WorldWing, government maps, and other imaging to pinpoint the location of Mel's Hole. First and foremost, Mel's Hole has never been found, and neither has the property. Any claims that it has are false. It's important to mention the fact that before digging into these images, not all of these images can be explained, but does not mean that they are the location of the hole. Note, all of these first few examples meet general location descriptions given by Mel. They all fall within the area. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, let's get to the images. Okay, come on. All right. So, there's Ellensburg, and this is the Air Force Base area or whatever. And yeah. The first photo is a circular anomaly seen in an image from 1998. It is most likely a trick of the light, a stock tank, or other circular, yeah. So 1998 marker. In the modern photos, the same place, you can see that there's nothing there and no sign that there ever was. Well, here's another example of a circle image in 1998 that became nothing once satellite imagery improved. Yeah. There's the circle. Boom, gone. There is some, like, hold on, there is some, it looks like maybe some walking trails around there, though. It doesn't give me the locations of these, though. And one more from 1998. Many of these seem plausible on older images because they fit the area and are near roads, but they turn out to be nothing. Boop. Bell's Hole. Here's the final example from 1998 that ends up not being anything. It's important to note that most of these became clear after 2002. Gone. Whoa! There's another road going out here too. Now let's get to the easy ones out of the way. If you search for Mel's Hole on Google Earth, you get 2 locations. One is nowhere near the right area. It is just a trailer. The other I've seen claimed as the right place on various websites. And we are going to go back to Google Earth and look at some of the stuff that's marked as Mel's Hole. There's Mel Waters Hole. It's clear by even modern 2007, this was 5 years ago, 2017 image that this is far too big to be the hole that Mel claimed. So what is it? It's just a dried up pond. The trees around it and now, see, dried up pond. Way too big to be Mel's Hole. I do find it pretty funny that this location has over 90 reviews on Google Earth, even though it's not Mel's Hole. It's not even a viable location, you know. The next area is the one that I've seen on both the old melshole.com forum and Reddit. That website is defunct, by the way, the melshole.com. I tried to go there, no longer active. Seems possible as any details fit Mel's account. However, a team visited the area and discovered that the hole was simply just a small well and the foundation was interesting, but nothing pointing towards it being the famous spot. Speaking of Reddit, there's a thread that points towards another location that many people seem to think is 100% the right spot. What they fail to realize is that it is nowhere near the described area. In fact, it's near several farms north of Ellensburg. Yeah, that's too far north. What those Reddit threads do not realize is that this location has already been well known as being an old mining shaft by the name of Reeser Creek or Green Canyon Hole. I can say for certain that this area was not the area Mel was talking about in his phone call. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to see it on Google Earth probably, but finally, let's have a look at a location that seems very plausible at first glance. It's just outside of the redacted area, but still fits within the general area. It has 2 old buildings, which Mel mentioned in the story, and also has a hole just off the road that fits the size description. Why is road spelled like that? That's weird. Oh, y'all can't see that. It's spelled R-O-D-E. Das Hole. Image stays consistent as you go back through the years until you reach 1998, which is of course the oldest time frame you can get a close-up of the image of in the area. I've also included the further out images from early as 1983. Someone on Mel's Hole forum found this location on the image over 10 years ago. They went out to find the location and see if they could verify if it was in fact the correct spot. The following photos are what they captured once they were able to find the correct location. Is the hole under there? Doom, doom, doom. And there's snow. There's the hole in there. Ah, that little barbed wire fence. Is that the hole? Full of snow. Must have snowed a lot. Fill up that endless, bottomless hole. Does snow fall into the hole? Does rain fall into the hole? Yeah. All questions. These photos are very interesting in that they clear up just what the location actually was. The hole was discovered to be an old spring-fed well. It was likely abandoned when the water table shifted and caused it to dry up. This is not the only location that has one of these old ponds. There are a number of these areas scattered throughout the old Manistash, throughout the Manistash. Old-time farmers and herders used them, and you can still find evidence of the old refuse scattered about. Some are even dumping pits. That sounds similar to what Mel described, full of old rusted junk. Which is what they'll find of humans billions of years from now. These were just a few examples to show and explain that nothing found on these satellite images has ever been, It's been 20 years since the original phone call, and we still have no credible, solid leads as to where the property is. And there's a very good chance that we will never know. Yeah, we'll never know because I think it's fictional, but... I personally believe that Mel's Waters was a real resident of the Ellensburg area, and he was more than likely did own land, but under his real name and not the Mel Waters alias, but I am unable to say for certain that he owned an endless hole on the land. I'm still going to investigate the claims as best I can. Yeah. Alright, so this person, if you find anything out about Mel's Hole, send it to this guy because they're going to keep looking into it. Yeah, so Mel's Hole. A mystery that probably will never get solved, but I think most people agree that it's like a fictional thing. Coast to Coast AM is sort of... kinda, yeah. Where is Mel now? Okay, so there is some lore about that. So allegedly he calls back again, and there was a alleged plane crash on his property, and the military took control over the area which the hole was located in, and then they offered, or a mysterious buyer offered to buy the property from him for a lucrative amount. Mel had some supernatural encounters with entities with glowing eyes and stuff, and then he moved to Australia, in which he made his, I believe he made his last call from Australia. So he was sworn to silence, blah blah blah, and then he disappeared forever. So that's actually what the lore says, and that was in 2002. So I think that we're pretty, it's pretty clear that Mel Waters is gonna probably not reappear in the world as we know it. Anyway, thank you for sticking with me through Cryptic Corner, exploring the depths of Mel's Hole. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time.
Just how deep it is, there's no way of knowing, because Mel's hole, it just keeps on going and going and going and going. Mel's going and going and going. Bring your doggy there if you want him resurrected. It's somewhere in Washington State, but it hasn't been detected, 'cause the government's got it covered up. Mel's hole. Oh, whoa, whoa, Mel's